Welcome to the IBC 2011 Pfclean demonstration. Pfclean features a comprehensive suite of automated, semi-automated and manual restoration tools, comprising colour correction, colour matching and colour balancing tools, grain and noise management tools, image processing tools including deflicker, stabilisation and various image filters, repair operations to deal with dust, scratches, warping and other defects, and tools to deal with video and compression artifacts. Any combination of these effects can be combined into a non-destructive stack, which can be copied and pasted to one or many other shots and processed in the background. All parameter values within an effect stack remain soft and can be modified or removed at any point in the project right up to the final render. I'm going to begin my project by conforming an EDL. So I'll load the EDL to Pfclean's import panel. When I pass the EDL, this conforms it and populates the media bin. It also populates my timeline overview, which has been redesigned for Pfclean 2011 to allow drag and drop editing and to display detailed information about my clips. I can enter the clip edit menu directly from the timeline, and from here I can build a stack of effects to restore my shots. In this shot I need to deal with some dust and spots, so I'll add an auto despot tool. As I lower the detection threshold, the spots are removed automatically by means of a simple temporal fix. This method requires no processing, so I'm ready to move on to the next shot. In addition to dust, this shot has stability and flicker problems, so I'm going to begin by adding a stabilize tool to my effect stack. I can stabilize with image borders for overscan shots, with masked areas, or with user-defined areas. I'm going to add an area, and Pfclean will automatically select tracking points within that area to perform the stabilization. Now I'm going to bring up a split screen view to show on the right the original and on the left the stabilized version. Now I'm going to add a deflicker tool. The deflicker tool evens out fluctuations in luminance and contrast to ensure a consistent image. Once again I'll bring up a split view to compare before and after the deflicker was applied. Now I can move on and deal with the dust. This time I'm going to use the automatic dust fix tool. This uses motion detection algorithms to differentiate between the movement in the picture and the movement of the dust to ensure a more accurate fix. Once the defects have been detected, I can determine whether spatial or temporal models are used for the fix, or an intelligent combination of the two, based on either the size of the area to be fixed or the speed of the underlying motion in the picture. I can visualize the detection either as a colour overlay or as a preview of the actual fix. The automatic dust fix tool requires processing. I could process it in the foreground, but this would interrupt my flow, so I'm going to take the clip to the batch panel and process it in the background so that I can continue to work productively on another shot. Now the batch processing is in progress, The clip status is displayed in the timeline overview. I'm going to move on to the next clip to work on this while the previous one is being processed in the background. This clip has a number of problems. Frames need to be fixed at the beginning and towards the end of the shot. There are also scratches on the shot. Notice how while I was reviewing the current clip, the previous clip completed its processing. Now I'm going to deal with the missing picture detail on the first frame by adding a fixed frame effect. The fixed frame tool synthesises picture detail by interpolation or extrapolation of adjacent frames. Now the area within the rectangle has been synthesised, and with the split view we can see before and after the fixed frame tool is applied. Now we're going to use the same fixed frame tool to fix across a number of frames that have been damaged by mould. As you can see, this has worked reasonably well, but I need to do some additional work to ensure the consistency of grain across the fix. Like all effects within Pfclean, the fixed frame tool is non-destructive. This means that I can locate, modify or delete individual fixes at any point up to the final render. Now I'm going to go to Pfclean's grain menu to take a sample of the grain from this shot. When I've sampled the size and intensity of the grain in each of the three channels, I can preview the effects of the degrain and regrain using these settings. When I'm satisfied, I can store this as a preset which can be used within other restoration tools. I'm now going to repeat the fixed frame effect and add back the clip's grain within the fixed area to ensure a more seamless result. Now I'm going to deal with the scratches. The Fix Scratch tool allows me to manually or automatically detect scratches on the picture by means of motion analysis. I can then apply a temporal or a spatial fix within the scratch areas and apply grain compensation if required. Once again I use the split view to show before and after the fixed scratch effect was applied. Finally, I'm going to add the Auto Dirt Fix tool to get rid of the dirt and spots. As in the previous example, I'm going to submit this shot to the batch panel for background processing and continue to work on the next shot while this is taking place. I'm going to add a paint tool to my effect stack to deal with this hair in the gate. The repair brush uses picture detail from around the brush stroke to fill the defective area. Like other effects within Pfclean, brushstrokes are also non-destructive and can be modified and updated at any point. While I was working on this shot, the previous shot completed processing in the background. Once again, I'm going to apply that grain preset within the brush stroke to ensure a more consistent fix. The next 4 shots are damaged in a similar way, so I'm going to set up the effect on the first and then copy and paste to the other 3. In this case, I'm going to use the automatic dust removal tool, set that up and then store it on this shot. Once I finish setting up the automatic dust removal tool for the current shot, I'll close it and go to the Workflow Manager, which provides a graphical overview of my project. I'll use the sort function to sort in order of the timeline, and then copy and paste the effect stack from the first shot to the other shots that require the same effect. Now I'm going to submit these shots to the batch panel for background processing. Whilst these shots are background processing, I'm going to start doing some colour correction within the timeline. Pfclean 2011 features a new colour correction module with a variety of grading modes and integral waveform monitoring. I'm going to use the video grading mode to grade this first shot. For the second shot, I'm going to use the ASC compliant mode, which uses ASC CDL values which can be exchanged with other applications. We can both import and export CDL. Meanwhile, the other 4 shots were processing in the background with no impact on my interactivity. The timeline colour corrector also features a sophisticated film grading module, which includes printer lights and density controls for the master, highlights, midtones and shadows, with user-definable ranges, allowing subtle control over the grade. Now I'm going to use the mastering controls to create a 2K master. I'm going to remove the image borders by panning and scanning. This is available on a shot-by-shot basis, and I can copy and paste the settings from one shot to another if required. Now all of the shots are framed correctly within the 2K canvas, I can proceed to create my deliverables. Pfclean 2011 features a redesigned export module, which allows us to create deliverables in multiple formats. I'm going to use the 2K remastered output from my timeline to create 2K, HD and PAL deliverables. From the export menu, I have control over the scaling, framing, retiming, file format and burn-in properties for my exported images. I can burn in masks, text overlays and lookup tables in a variety of formats, including industry standard Kodak and TrueLight. Like many other processes in Pfclean, the export process runs in the background, which means that while it's running, I can continue to work productively on other shots. Now we're going to take a look at the integration between Pfclean and Baselight. In this example, I'm grading a scene in Baselight where the original scans are damaged by dust. So I'm going to set up the initial grade before closing the scene and then reopening it in Pfclean. When the Baselight integration option is enabled, I can import a Baselight scene or timeline directly to Pfclean and navigate it using Pfclean's timeline overview. I'm now going to apply an auto D-spot effect to the shot and export it. Once I've exported the restored frames, I can update the Baselight scene so that it references the restored frames and not the originals. When I return to Baselight, we can see that the grade is still soft, but it applies to the newly restored media. I can use the undo function in Baselight to step back to use the original damaged media if required. This means that the restoration aspects of the project remain completely transparent to the colorist.